Hello and welcome, and this is selection number 2 in my journey to have a good selection around 100, and what I'm hoping to be in a little under a year of what I feel to be that of fantastic selections. Last week, not so great, as I went with a tight end, Robert Tonyan, who to go over the total for longest reception. I liked the other props that went with it, and most of them pretty much lost as well. 0-1 to start the season. So this week, I'm going to go back to the tight end position again. And one thing I'm not scared to do, and one thing I really want to do, is take those good plus prices, and I'm going to do just that in this particular video. I got access to a couple of different sports books, so looking back and forth, I've seen this the over at least at a minus 130 type prices available, which I like. But I'm going to again take the higher price, and I want to take as many of the big ones when I feel the value is there. The selection, and then I'm going to be playing, is this here, plus 368. For T. Conklin to get 3 plus receptions, or another way of wording it, over 2.5 receptions. And we'll take a look at that. Plus 368, which means if I win one of every 4.68 times, I would break even. Which means even if I'm winning 25% of the time, I would profit. And how close to 50% is it likely for Mr. Conklin to catch at least 3 balls against the New Orleans Saints on Christmas Day? Let's take a look at Conklin's game log. And he got 3 last week out of 4 targets and 5 out of 5 the week before that. He seems to be getting added to the offense. We no longer have the previous tight end in the lineup, Kyle Rudolph, who is also out for today's game. So what should his over-under be? Yeah, even in week 12 and 13, Kyle Rudolph wasn't there. And there's another tight end in the mixture who's going to be, and has been doing well himself too. But I would have to think maybe 3 and 5, or 3 catches and 5 catches might be a little bit of an outlier. But plus that high of a price, what should it be, like plus 130 maybe, plus 140? And maybe should the over-under be 2.5 near the minus 110 number? I don't know, I just think there's a lot of value in it. So this will be selection number 2, Tyler Conklin, to go over 2.5 catches against the New Orleans Saints. Just for something to do, I decided to make my own very quick look of what I think the hockey lines should be for opening day. Or if I were to be given a job, what would you put out? Well, this is what I think maybe should be fair. Hockey season starts in about 3 weeks, and that's where I think a lot of these plays are going to come to. I still in the middle of, they haven't put up Team Canada hockey lines on CloudBet. I'm looking for, December 26th will be the game in focus I'll be looking at. Kirby Dach being injured, I'm not a big fan of. It's not going to make it a bit difficult, but I really, really want to go over the total on Canada games in the World Junior Championships. But to start the hockey season off, what most likely going to be seeing is over the totals. And laying a goal and a half is going to be something I'm going to be enjoying doing, I think, this year. Especially on the home teams. Vancouver playing Edmonton. I think the home teams are in good shape in the first game of the season. At least I got 3 decent-sized favorites. And I think the totals, hockey, the first few games of the season, expect high-scoring games. And I don't think totals should be 6.5 and 7 throughout this season. Like 6. And then either 5.5 or 6.5 after that. That's where I think the total should be. Mainly, I think the league average would be about 6.1 for goals. Yeah, why do I got 7 and 6.5? Is it just happening? These are the types of games? Yeah, a bit, but no, not really. I mean, Chicago defensive team, St. Louis defensive team, Philadelphia defensive team, to a degree. But Toronto's going to be a high-scoring team. And, of course, Edmonton, that's... First games of the season, there's just a lot of goals. Goalies just take a little bit to get into shape. So I'm going to be hoping that the totals that Vegas is putting out are going to be low and I can play on the hammer, especially if there's a Grand Salame. I'm just going to add the number. 7 plus 7 plus 6.5 3 times is 33.5. So I would put a spread of the home teams collectively favored as 2.5. Road teams, well, the total for both teams to be 33.5. Had a thought in my head today. Computer programming, so easy to do. And that is, what I need to do is first you just need like 3 levels of input to put in. How many goals do you think the home team will score in the game? On average, like 2.7, 3.1. As well as the other teams. That's 2 informations right there. As well as what's the percentage the home team will win in overtime if that game goes to such. And when I say points per goals, I mean, well, not counting overtime, empty net, or goals scored because you pulled your goalie. So not goals count with the last couple of minutes where they pull their goalie. Because what I would do is figure, okay, what's the likelihood of each of these teams' goals? Like maybe 2.87 or 3.12 or whatever it is. I put that number in the computer. And then the other team. So for example, say I predict a team to score 3.12 goals in a game. Well, what I would do is I would, for one game simulation, maybe do 100 examples of such. And then it would have to do a random number out of say 10,000. If it comes up like 312, it's a goal. And then on average, I should get 312. So what I would do is I would get the score. I tell the computer, okay, it's now been this time. Is it a 1-goal game? Is it tied? Is it a multi-goal game? 2-goal, 3-goal, 4-goal game? Well, if it's 3 or more, just end the game. If it's tied, let's just go to overtime. If it's a 1-goal game or 2-goal game, let's just pull the goalie as they would do and then do the numbers on that. And I've already got statistics to see how likely home teams win in overtime, statistics that the team pulling their goalie, how often do they allow the empty net goal and stuff like that. And then what I can do is I can run that game like millions if I want, but most certainly tens to hundreds of thousands of times over. And then I can see how likely a 3-1 score is because these bookmakers will put out some really, really wild lines. And as a handicapper and as a sports bettor, your job, at least I feel your job, is to be like a teacher and mark, meaning mark their test. Look at the odds they put out, and when they make a mistake, you got to hammer it. And that's what I feel they've done in this game, and that's what I'm looking to do, is take advantage of what I feel is their mistakes. I just think that Conklin deserves a lot more respect than such. Now, going over it on the 2 number here, I mean, I'm even considering just even speculating a bit, like take a little bit on the 4 and the 5 as well. I mean, 21 to I mean, he had 5 last week. And you're going to give me 20 to 1 odds. Like over 20 to 1 odds today. It's like 10 to 1 odds for the 4 number. It's really not asking for that much to occur. Thank you for tuning in and have yourself a great day. Bye-bye.